All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Young Brando, your host, live from Los Angeles, heading onto a chill but very sunny Sunday afternoon here in Los Angeles. My friend and community member, Bezos, very generously decided to join me today, and he's going to reveal a very special watch. How are you doing, Basil?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good, man. Nice to have you here.
Likewise.
Yeah, I was thinking back to our previous conversation, which I posted right here in the chat. Um, you were once again very kind to come here and share your previous experience of having found this deal combined with a coupon that you just couldn't resist, an offer that you couldn't refuse on eBay. I
Exactly.
think we have something similar in our hands again.
Yeah. Actually, that is exactly the case. Sometimes the best deals in life and in watch shopping are those that you're not actually specifically hunting for, but kind of in a kind of a passive way, just kind of keeping an eye on. Hence, adding items to a watch list and receiving offers like on occasion from sellers of those said items, and sometimes the offers are pretty attractive, and the ability to counter with an even more attractive bottom line price is kind of what brought me into this new piece that I'll be presenting in a little bit.
Nice. That's a very nice euphemism for a low ball there, Basil.
Yes.
That's my that's
Exactly
my favorite tactic as well.
the way you go.
So I wanted to ask you because I like doing these sorts of searches, as you know, on eBay, on Chrono24, some of which I share with you and the other five members of the Big Six on Patreon. How do you usually structure your hunt on eBay? How do you approach your searches on eBay? You said you add watches to the watch list, appropriately named for people like us. Do you use any other methods? Do you use keywords, or do you just search when you're in the mood for it?
Yeah, it's a venture that kind of just happens organically with just kind of just being in the mood of going online, seeing, just looking up watches that I admire, watches that are new, some that, may have been hyped at one point and have kind of cooled. So really just putting in maybe one or two items, and then eBay, their AI is smart enough to kind of recommend some other items that may be of interest, and and taking a peek at those deals as well. So really like looking at deals from the biggest of the big gray market sellers to just a private party that may have a spare watch or two that they're looking to part online.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar too, actually. I'm maybe a little more obsessed and clearly autistic about it. I have my keywords plugged in on eBay. Sometimes those can be reference numbers. Other times it can be simply brand names if it's a little more obscure, because if you write Rolex, God knows
Oh
how
yeah, sure.
many results you will have to sift through. And at other odd times, it's not only names of model names, but also sometimes misspellings of common models and brands, right? For example, instead of spelling out Gérard Janta completely, I would skip an A or skip an E somewhere in the middle, just to put it out there.
Sure.
It's like fishing.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just um, you are just there to spend a good time, kill time, do nothing, and maybe something will come your way, like you said, in a way you don't even expect, in a way you don't even necessarily look for.
That's very true. Yeah, it's just a simple mistake can deter viewers, and if it's a seller that may be a little more of a novice to the hobby, or just even simply listing online, or even like myself, just a common misspelling of something, you may not be getting the hits that you're looking for, and you finally get an offer of some monetary value, and you're a little more apt to, okay, well, haven't been seeing too many bites. This person is maybe making a best offer of X amount. I have this much into the piece, and yeah,
Mhm.
it's I'll take whatever. Yeah, it's a smart way to kind of go about things, because sometimes those off spellings will kind of get put to the wayside, to a certain degree.
And like you said, there's a kind of hierarchy to it too. There are, again, a few reference numbers, a few model names, a few brands that I'm constantly on the lookout for. So the keyword searches and eBay's daily emails about those
Sure.
keywords serve me well. Same thing with Chrono. Of course, you can put in keywords and get alerts about them as well. Other times it can be, again, a particular kind of watch or brand or design that I'm obsessed about at a certain point in time. Um, Yet other times it can be just something that comes to mind, and I want to just do the kinds of searches that I haven't been doing for a while. Like, let's say I want something with, or I want to simply look and learn more about how many brands were doing those turquoise dials, for example,
Sure.
bloodstone dials, lapis lazuli. let's
Yeah.
let's check out what kind of watches that not only Rolex but AP and Jaeger LeCoultre made in that way in the past. So I end up making those wish lists, and like you said, on eBay, one thing that happens is sometimes almost immediately after you add something, an offer drops in your inbox, and sometimes, like you said, it's already quite enticing. Other
Exactly.
times
Exactly.
they're open to counter offers. Yet other times, during the days and months that you are putting it on the back burner, a coupon or something comes up, and suddenly you have a deal on your hands that you didn't expect. I totally.
Exactly. No, that's the way to do it. It's kind of, I remember when I was a kid, and just going to the local, well, not really that local, but yeah, maybe like an hour away pier, and seeing fishers with multiple lines in the sea, and one would hit, and you'd just go over to that one and reel it in and see what he had on the other end of the hook.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome, man. So what have you been looking at since the last time? I know the main piece you shared with us was the Red Sea Dweller ST43. And then you also shared with us your new Cartier Santos, and if I'm not mistaken, also Panerai, right?
Yes, yes, the 959 Panerai Luminor. That nice blue ceramic dial with kind of a grayish textured, I'm sorry, grayish textured dial with a nice blue bezel.
Yeah. So what have you been doing since then? What have you been looking at? What brands, and what brought you to this particular purchase?
Yes, so as far as brands go, I've added um, about four pieces to my collection since we last spoke. Um, One being an Omega Speedmaster with it's a Speedmaster Professional, but the neat thing about it is it's from the early 2000s, and it has the broad arrow hand. So it's kind of it was like a neo retro done in like the early 2000s.
Hmm.
A little larger than the original, but just like a really cool piece. It was actually my first Speedy. I don't have a Man on the Moon or a Reduced or anything like that. So it's a cool piece. I actually sourced a brand new strap that was the original, that was sold with that particular model versus a steel bracelet. The other pieces that I went with, yeah, there it is
Yeah,
on
let's
the
see if
wrist.
I can find a better picture even.
Yeah, yeah, they should be up. I see one there. Yeah, that was before that was the the leather strap that came with it. Some football action. And the other pieces that were somewhat recent were a Breitling Navitimer and a Seamaster 300.
Nice.
So yeah, that's actually Arch did a review for me not too long ago.
It's amazing.
And the latest and greatest is a Milgauss. It's a black dial with green crystal.
Oh, there you go. And of
Which
course,
JJ's watch hangout was gracious enough to let me unbox.
wonderful. This is of course the line that just got discontinued. You know, like you, I'm expecting it to somehow eventually down the line come back in a big way, in a different way, in a way that perhaps harkens back to the past, but most importantly, integrates some of the newer technology that Rolex has available to them that they have patented, like the Siloxy hairspring that they introduced, for example, first time in a full-sized watch at the Perpetual 908 introduction. So maybe something like that. But for now, this is a great piece, of course,
Yeah.
since that line took a big pause for now.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to close on it right before the announce well the kind of the lack of it being on the website. So I was happy with the price. Actually, another eBay purchase that was accompanied with a coupon and a best offer, which brought the price actually significantly less than what the retail is. Now, with this watch, it was in production for a very long time. I believe from '07 to to 2023. However, a deal is definitely a deal. So I think this one was I think it was like a 2010 maybe. So it wasn't
Mhm.
one of the it was kind of like right in the middle to the earlier part of production. However, as far as it wasn't really touched as far as updates go, it was just kind of run that way and that dial and movement straight through.
Yeah, I think, of course, a lot of people were crazy about the Z Blue. The white had gotten discontinued, before everything else. So, you might think that the black somehow falls through the cracks, but that's how we find a deal at any rate, right? That's how we
Exactly.
find a watch that we like, especially when no one else is going after it. That's when you get a good buy on it.
Exactly. And that's the thing, I was definitely attracted to that, that green crystal, where, the standard black dial, I may have sourced for, honestly, the deal that I got, I probably wouldn't have been able to source it for much less, if that. So to get kind of that desirable green crystal with, the model that I chose was pretty cool. And, at one point I was actually offered a Z Blue, and at that point it was pre-pandemic by a couple months. I just wasn't quite ready to pull a trigger on it, and I was almost thinking at that point, well, I really like that black and orange. Like if that was the one that was presented, I may have actually pulled the trigger. So it was a watch that's kind of been in the back burner, but price made it a reality.
Awesome. So give us a clue. Give us something about this new purchase that
So yeah,
you have made.
young Brando's not even informed as to what I purchased. This is I think he's a smart guy. I did give him some breadcrumbs to maybe uncover what it could possibly be as far as a price point, a time of availability, and so forth.
Right. Let's share that maybe with the viewers, and then we can
Sure.
talk about what led you to that. You shared with me two hints. So
Yes.
what were those for the viewers?
So yes, so my big hint was that this was a piece that was offered in a limited run last year and was selling well over like almost double its offered price. And I believe I may have indicated that the price was roughly like a hair under 3,000.
Nice. And is that the list price, or is that the price that you paid for it?
So the list price is 2,700. Right now, it's currently listed on some of the bigger gray dealers for closer to mid threes to four. It was getting a
Hmm.
little ridiculous at earlier stages, but it's kind of simmered down. My price actually was all in. It was actually around 1,900.
Oh, nice. You got
So
a
I
good.
did pretty well in the piece. Again, it was something that I received an offer on, and it was being offered closer to that $3,000 price. I received actually a really reasonable offer through the seller, and I countered it with a lower number, which I said, well, with tax, I would like to be at this amount, and the seller was kind enough to accommodate and get the watch right out, which it went to authentication and then straight to me in about maybe a week's time. I was once I received the watch, I was in that little period of not so much buyer's remorse, maybe buyer's remorse, where, where I had it on the wrist and I kept
Clip that, guys. Not so much buyer's remorse, maybe buyer's remorse.
I'll be fair. I had it, on my wrist, inside looking at it. Coming from, a lot of my watches that I've been wearing of late have been divers or just watches with a little more bulk to it. So something like the Milgauss, Tudors, a Sea Dweller, like watches with a little more oomph to them. Where I went to a little bit more of a this piece is it's a little bit of a smaller piece. I'll give another little breadcrumb. It's 37 millimeters, which it's not 34 millimeters. I'll give another little breadcrumb. I think I gave away the brand at this point.
I think so.
But yeah. But
Next you
it's
will say it was made somewhere in East Asia, I think.
okay. Yeah, getting a little warmer. Yeah, that's I can't
Is it is it
not say
a
that.
is it a country that's an archipelago?
Oh, that.
Japan?
Yeah,
Made in
yeah, that
Japan?
sounds about right. Sounds about right. So I think we're getting pretty warm as far as
I think someone
geographic
got the winner
location
here.
of it.
Whole Milk says Chrono Tokyo? Question mark.
Whole milk is a wise man. That is the brand. That's the brand. So though Chrono has been making pieces now for I think since 2018.
Mhm.
This particular piece was available in 2022. So and I don't know, guys can't see it. I have my camera a little low, but I have a nice green shirt on with a nice
Nice.
little pattern to it, which might like at this point, yeah, I should probably just show you the watch because I think if our viewers and you young Brando are pretty familiar with the brand.
Well, we can say a few things about Chrono Tokyo,
Yeah, yeah, you bet.
as we are getting ready for your unboxing. Um, Chrono Tokyo is, as you can tell from the brand, based in Tokyo, Japan. Nowadays, they even have a little store in the Aoyama district of the
That's right.
city, but they have started basically as an online exclusive venture led by the design approach and the vision of Hajime Asaoka, who is a Japanese watchmaker and an esteemed member of the Academy of Independent Horological Creators. And he basically wanted to have in this brand something similar to a diffusion line, but I think that would be a little bit of a misnomer because in so many ways he uses a similar kind of design vision, but it's not at all the same aesthetic or even a copy or homage to pieces that he makes on a made to order, even bespoke basis independently. None of the pieces look like the Tsunami, for example, right? So it's very uh, lovely as a brand, uses Mayota and Seiko movements. They make uh, time only pieces that are very elegant, have unique lacquered dials. They have a complication series, which are built on the chronographs, but also include a triple calendar watch that was released last year in this moss green. And I think I will leave the floor to Bezos. What do you think, Bezos? Did you choose green? Because you were pointing to your shirt because of the Bezos bezels shtick.
Yeah,
Or
right. It's funny. I tend to, if in my last like big purchases of both a Santos and a Panerai, blue was kind of a theme, and my last
Mhm.
purchase was a Milgauss, which green is kind of a theme. Yes, green was kind of the way it went. Maybe one day I'll have a nice Kermit Rolex or something with an actual green color bezel to kind of hence the green bezel. But yeah, so just to kind of start a little with my unboxing, not only did the watch come with all the pieces that were granted for those that pre-ordered the device, I also received a nice brown leather strap. So it actually still has this was a strap that was on the watch that when I was unboxing it and trying it on, I actually even left the red do not remove stuff on just in case I wanted to send it back so I could just pop this one back on without the tampered stuff. I was able to use my
Okay.
spring bar tool to remove it and go to the strap that I prefer. The strap that it was sourced with the watch and is actually black with a green tint to it, which
Nice.
I like brown. It's a great accent color. I'll tend to stick to black, so I think the daily wear would be a black. But in the occasion that I'm wearing my brown shoes and belt, I will have an alternate 20 millimeter strap, and that
Nice.
I can use for some of my other watches. This is a mono straps that uh, looks as retails about $130. So that was just something that came with it, which is kind of cool.
I like that you are paying attention to these style details, like
Exactly. So I'm at the
matching
right
your
place.
yeah, matching your leather.
Of course.
And also, the especially lighter shades of brown, tan, not that band-aid shade that was popular at some point in time, but like that kind of rich tan shade that leather strap came in. That's also a nice way of making some of these beautiful time only watches a little more casual, a little more sporty. I think that's a nice option to keep in the arsenal, even though it might not be your everyday choice.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't per se a deal breaker in buying the watch, but at the same time, it was kind of cool that it came with something a little extra and something that I can use with this piece as well as some of my other pieces that may accommodate that kind of a strap. So pretty cool. So
All right.
my next, so they give you a nice little pouch, which I think will probably really
Nice.
only be used for storage, but
Chrono Tokyo.
yeah,
Great.
branding and everything. So, and within the pouch, so just like a branded envelope as well. And just a couple little thank you from the company,
Very nice.
and in Japanese.
Unfortunately, can't read that one, but
No, that one's a little tough. And then another little small little gift, like a little
let me see.
pouch that kind of goes with the bag that was given as a
Yeah,
thank you.
I love that. I also love and Basil, you already deflected this immediately saying only for storage, but Whole Milk is saying great man purse for that
Yeah, right.
packaging.
Yeah, it'll serve well as a storage piece.
Look, I mean,
So the next,
Whole Milk. It's not their fault that the Japanese have better style and a more open mind than you do.
nice little wipe for the watch. It's a little hard to see, but it does have branding on it.
Uh,
And yeah, the not that I'm not concerned, but little warranty card.
mm-hmm.
And then the last and final teaser is
Ooh,
a locker dial.
I think by now we know which one
Yeah,
this
so if
is.
you're familiar with the brand,
Very
there it
nice.
is. So
Very
the Grand Mari. So without further ado,
nice.
there it is.
Oh, let's see. Let's get it focused a little bit so we can get the details of that dial. Do you want to tilt it back just a tiny bit? No, yes.
Yeah, my camera on my laptop here isn't the best in the world, so my apologies on that.
That's all right.
But it's a great dial. It's so for those of you that are somewhat familiar with this particular version, the way they finish the dial is actually with a a paper, like a special paper native to Japan, applied directly to the lacquer on the dial, which kind of gives it a really nice green effect to it. Let's see if I can somehow get that glare. But my apologies, guys. I wish I could give you a better view, but thank you so much for all the congrats.
Thank you, Basil.
You bet.
The Grand Series, of course, is very special when it comes to Chrono Tokyo. Again, by and large, they already have a very nice quality, but these pieces also combine that with the work of Japanese artisanship, specifically in the application of those lacquered dials. And that is the original textured black strap with those green accents, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I went with the default. Well, I think with the brown, I was wearing with the brown, and I was kind of like, meh, I like it, but I just tend to kind of gravitate towards a lot of blacks, and just to have the original strap on, I think was kind of a deal breaker as to getting me to really commit to the day to day on the watch.
Mm. Nice.
Thank you.
So here's the piece on the Corona website.
That's much better. Look to it.
They have also presented their own apologies, saying devices with OLED displays such as smartphones may reproduce the color tones of the dial more accurately as well. So it's the kind of piece that you have to contemplate and admire in person more than through computer screens. But we do a little bit of both, and
Of course.
this is our platform, so we have to deal with it as it comes. But this is a great addition to the collection. I think this is something they do on a yearly basis as well.
Yeah.
From now on, I
Yes.
expect something to come this year too.
Yeah.
Maybe the 5th piece.
I believe it was around May when the last one was launched. So it seems, maybe right around the corner that a new model will be pushed.
Your voice seems a little robotic. Do you think it's the connection or maybe the mic?
It may very well be still a little robotic.
Yeah, a little bit.
Let me log out and log back in. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So this is Basil's new watch, the 2022 anniversary in the Grand Series, Grand Mori, featuring a traditional Japanese urushi lacquer dial. This particular series actually featured dials that are implemented by old masters.
Any better?
Much better. Much
Oh,
better.
excellent.
Thank you so much.
I've seen the log out and log back in method before a number of times on these live streams, so that seems to always be the easy fix for those audio hiccups.
It's always I think there was a South Park episode about this as well, where they had like a whole internet blackdown or something like that, and there was this kind of gigantic oversized Wi-Fi router which they just had to turn off and on, and everything was pure bliss again. Owl, I think, is taking the piss out of you, but this is what he says. That's a prescient design by Ming. Congrats, Basil.
It's funny. Actually, when I was describing the piece recently, I was visiting someone in my area that's like a smaller. He has like a smaller office and is doing the whole gray market thing. From said office, and just talked to him about the brand, and it was a little like confused as to Chrono. I think I've heard of it, and I was like, I think I said what came out was the company that's like Ming but from Japan, and as I said that, he exactly knew what the brand I was talking about. So I think with just the distribution methods, those small windows of purchasing online is the two companies kind of coming out around the same time. They are associated with one another. So
yeah, I think I think sometimes for both brands, I think there can be very highly charged opinions. I think especially for Ming, you can find the broad spectrum because people who like Ming feel pretty strongly about it as well. Whereas I think Chrono is still a little more niche. They have. I feel like their model lines are in a way much more clear. They are much smaller. The expectation is not that you are necessarily getting a high horological piece. You know that you are getting something that is reliable, that is durable, but that reflects good design, that implements the aesthetic vision of one of the most respected independent makers today. But the pricing reflects the quality. I think one thing that I want to highlight, because again, one of our community members had a personal experience on this. I'm talking about St. Peter, who has the chronograph, the Mark II chronograph. And you were showing the service card saying like, maybe I don't care too much about this, but the great thing is they do honor their warranty in a pretty reliable and honorable way. In this case, they basically replaced his watch that
Oh wow.
which was very unexpected on his part, on his behalf. And it just testifies again to the kind of quality they aspire to and what they deliver at that price point.
Yeah, no, I was actually unaware of that. But that's really great. That yeah, these companies, it's they're taking care of their customers. It seems like there are companies and retailers that can sometimes kind of push people to the wayside, but to kind of do the right thing and let's take in this product that's not right and replace it with one that is just it's the right thing to do, and the right way to build a company, in my opinion.
And I think the other thing is, again, one particular aspect of these sorts of micro brands is the kind of transparency that they use in Chrono. You know exactly what you're getting. It's not like you're actually getting a pretty generic caliber that's then branded KT 052 or something to make it seem like it's designed from scratch in-house in a vertically integrated manufacturer or something like that. You're not getting that.
The warehouse view, it is what it is.
But there's also always an aspect of the watch that adds something special in each new generation, something of an artisanal touch, something unique, that was your biggest slip or hint for me when you said it's not 34 millimeters. That's something that was pretty unique to Hajime Asaoka, because he himself, of course, is very much taken by the aesthetics of vintage time-only dress watches, but he also knows how delicate those are, how you can't really wear them necessarily on a daily basis, especially if it's like if it's inclement weather, if it's a very humid environment, who knows. So he made in two series these two quartets of 34 millimeter stainless steel dress watches that harken back to those designs, but also to those aesthetics and those proportions. I don't think there are many modern brands that make 34 millimeter watches with this sort of aesthetic.
That's correct. Yeah, they definitely hark to what was as far as the 34 millimeter, which is it's still like that's that borderline where 34 is kind of the cutoff to a men's watch. traditionally what a full size watch was, and there's always going to be a market for that, and to kind of take that and run with it, especially with the Japanese audience, which would and will prefer those smaller sizes.
Well, I mean, the thing is, of course, when you look at the broad spectrum of watches, not only what is on retail, but also in terms of the sheer spread of vintage catalog from Rolex, for example, there's a lot of 34 millimeter OPs and Air
Sure.
Kings that actually can make a great everyday wearer, that can be a great starter for a young collector. Obviously,
Absolutely.
we give the advice, they just Speedmaster pretty easily, but those kinds of pieces are, I think, a great option. If you want to enter into the Holy Trinity, again, there are a lot of beautiful precious metal dress watches from the 60s by Audemars Piguet, by Vacheron Constantin, that are right around 33, 34, 35. Beautiful pieces that you can get in high five figures, and sometimes for a little less even. So there's a lot of options, actually. But for
Sure.
a modern brand,
Modern, exactly
to
right.
like you said, implement watches that are men's watches with certainly broad unisex appeal, let's not deny that, but also with designs that harken back to that vintage aesthetic. That's pretty unique, and that was seemingly brave. He sold out very easily in the first release. In the second release, I think he multiplied the stock maybe by 3, and he still sold out almost immediately.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Ali Reza, 1433, thank you so much. If we get young Brando drunk enough, maybe we'll do an auction review as Steve Irvin. Crikey. That's not a look. I mean, I'm not really the master of impressions. There are a few things that I can do well, and I'm not really as familiar with Steve Irvin to do a good impression. But honestly, first of all, let's just put it out there. I would do just about anything uh, that don't cross my ethical boundaries for money on this channel. So feel free to throw that in. I will even practice a Steve Irvin accent. I don't mind it. But Arnold can
Yeah, I was
certainly.
thinking Arnold. I was thinking
Schwarzenegger
Arnold.
can come out. He has visited this channel before. He has been here. So we can do that. We can do that. Um, let me see if he's here. Come on, Ali Raza. Come on.
What's
Are you
going on?
ready?
What are we
I
gonna
like to talk
block
watches.
on?
Ali Raza. I want to talk watches with you one day and smoke cigars. Yeah, come on. I'll get to the chopper and fly to Miami. Come on. Uh, can I get back? Can I get my computer back, Arnold? Man, you gotta be ballsy. All right.
If we need a panoramic or an overseas review or an offshore review, we know who to call.
Right. I talked to Arnold actually behind the scenes. He's pretty excited about AP releasing a reissue of the End of Days offshore. Do you remember that watch? It was a pretty handsome piece, the original. Let me see if I can pull it up very quickly. And it's kind of, funny enough, it's also in this sort of Batman, um, you know, color
Sure.
combination as well. So it's a pretty. I guess that's why I like it. That's why I'm making that connection, because I'm a huge fan of Batman as a quote unquote superhero. But yeah, this was a very handsome watch, and they have just reissued it as part of the um, 30th anniversary ceremonies for the AP Royal Oak Offshore. And I'm sure within the right company, Arnold would love to come and talk about the history behind this watch and what he thinks about the reissue, and what what he thinks of his close friend Francois Henri Benamias, the outgoing AP CEO. I'm sure he has a lot to say. But no, I mean, I actually, again, I'm one of those people who had pretty strong feelings about the Royal Oak Offshore initially. As a long-standing Royal Oak fanboy, I also thought that it was kind of betrayal of the original design. There's that story that Gerard Janta approached the AP stand in Basel when the watch was introduced, and he took them to task, saying like, "What have you done to my baby?"
Yeah, I knew he wasn't on board. It was like he actually kind of made a semi-public outcry. Wow.
Sorry, what you were cutting again, so I couldn't.
Oh no, no worry. If I can you hear me now?
Turkey, thank you so much. I try my best. And Chile, welcome to the channel. But it was a slow burner for me, for sure. I started, because I had that initial resistance, and 99% of the time I keep a very open mind when it comes to watches. So even when I don't like it in the first place, I go out and try as many examples, as many different iterations as I can. That's what I did with the Offshore. And when I found some of the quirkier designs, when I tried on the original Beast for the first time, the triple calendar, a lot of the interesting models, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good when you look at it in its own right, when you consider it in its own category. And when I think about it from more strictly from a design perspective, there weren't 100 different ways they could go with the Royal Oak. If they were doing something with the Royal Oak design, they had to either take it in a dressier, more formal direction, or in fact exaggerate and intensify this sort of brutal, industrial, aggressive aesthetic of it. Oh wow, Chili
Yeah.
Badger, thank you so much. Thank you, Chili. £2. I appreciate you too. So that's what Emmanuel Get did, basically. He made the watch more muscular, more brutal. He made it thicker. And quite frankly, the Offshore became, in a way, for AP, a way to sustain itself, a way to grow beyond any size and any popularity they could imagine, even with the Royal Oak Jumbo. And in a way, you might say these are the kinds of watches that subsidized for AP to stay true to their origins in certain ways too. Build their museum around the workshop, kept generations of faithful reproductions of the Jumbo in in 15002, 15202, now 16202. So nowadays I mind it so much less. I in fact like it in its own way, and I appreciate that that it exists as part of the catalog. And I actually, the more I learn about the designer, the more I learn about Emmanuel Guilly, or Get. He impresses me that that double initial folding clasp, for example, with AP on both sides, that kind of snap on each other and kiss. That's his design too. A lot of different aspects of Audemars Piguet design from that time is his. So I appreciate him a great deal, actually.
Yeah, and that's giving kind of people what they want when they the time that they want. It isn't such a bad thing. It's when the watch was we kind of it doesn't diminish what the former was. It doesn't make just because we have a newer, bigger, beefier Royal Oak with the offshore, it doesn't take away from the past of the heritage of the offshore started as a watch. So we can have both.
Yeah, in many ways, I think how I came to appreciate the Royal Oak offshore echoes how I came to appreciate a lot of contemporary Rolex as well. It's something different. It appeals to a different kind of customer. It broadens the passion to a wider spectrum of people. And it actually leaves the classics alone while staying true to them in a fresh take. And I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
I agree.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your presence and support. Please hit the like button. I appreciate you, Chili Badger and Ali Raza, for your super chats, and everyone else for their presence. Great questions. Whole Milk for his great guess. He got it right on the second try. And most importantly, of course, my friend Bezos for being so gracious and generous and coming to the channel to share his new watch with us.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure.
Beautiful watch. I really think also among all the three, my favorite is the green as well.
Yeah, can't go wrong with green.
Even though I have a soft spot for red, but when it comes to those Urushi lacquer dials, I think that's the one that provides most depth and the one most unique. All right, guys. I'm sure we'll see you again pretty soon. I know Alireza is going to share a watch with us next week. So look forward to that. Look forward to the announcement on the community board. I have two surprises lined up for you. One, and I think Bezos has already heard about this. I am actually giving away the third Seiko 5 Rowing Blazers watch to one of my 6 most loyal and persistent supporters on Patreon. And I gave them numbers 1 to 6 from the earliest to the latest. So, for example, Corrado Galizia is number 1. My friend Basil is number 2. Ali Reza is number 6, so on and so forth. And I think we will do that on the next live stream. Of course, Captain has number 2, so he's still to jump on the stream and share the piece with us as well. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I might join the party. I don't know. Maybe I will have a new piece coming on.
Nice.
Soon. Maybe I will have a new watch reveal soon enough. I don't know if I will squeeze it in next week, if it will come in time for next week, but there might be a surprise like that as well.
Sweet. Can't wait.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope to see you on the next live stream. We will be back with more Watch Talk then. Take care.